Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 20th, I think.
Yes, sir.
It is. October 20th, and the NBA season started last night, but the Cavs season starts tonight. I am not going to watch the game. I will not be watching it. That's it, though. So, Tom, sorry we're a little late. Tom was my man. Tom was moving around. He was hopping puddles, and I know he was just really just flying over the continental United States instead of United States and Europe. But we're back. Give you your NFL fix for during the middle of the week. But Tom, how are you doing, man?
Busy time of year. I got classes, midterms, papers, all that fun stuff.
I don't know if I've ever told you, but like one of my like reoccurring themes, if I have I don't really have nightmares, but like I wake up with a ton of anxiety. I have this like it's a running dream, but it's not the same thing, but it kind of is. Like I will go into my dream and like think I'm still in college and like it's about to be like a deadline and I'm gonna fail and flunk out of college and things like that, which I actually did in real life. But I didn't fail out. I didn't fail out. I want to point that I did not flunk out. But I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I go to school, and I'm like, okay, cool. You're never gonna have to do that again ever in your life, so you're good.
Just trying to get through my last year.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, I mean, like if I could have any advice to give to younger people, is like just do the damn 4 years. It's so worth it. But yeah, we're here to talk about the NFL games over the weekend. We probably won't do any little preview for this week and maybe a word or two, but that'll probably be saved for either Friday and then the Sunday show a little bit probably. But let's kind of just go into it. I think one of the biggest stories right now, not surprising. It's more surprising what has come out with it, I think. But Ed Orgeron and LSU have agreed to mutually part ways. I'm not surprised. I mean, this was going to happen. I think we knew this was going to happen. It was either going to happen at the end of the year or it was going to happen sooner rather than later. But it's happening at the end of the year. And from all reports, it basically was like on Seinfeld, he was George Costanza from Seinfeld that was just trying to get fired. He was like doing things to try and get fired. And there were reports that he had like multiple girlfriends, and then apparently the thing that set everything in motion really is he was at a gas station with somebody, and a woman walked out in exercise gear who was pregnant, and he said basically hit on her and was like, oh well, it doesn't matter if you're married, doesn't matter if you're pregnant. Ended up being the wife and of a very high-ranking LSU official, so that kind of sent it over. But like from what I said, it seems like he wanted out from the beginning. I don't know, Tom. What are your thoughts?
I thought that was so funny when it was coming out because I was like, of course it's an LSU official's wife, bro. Like, yeah. Of course. Do you think he gets another job in college football?
A head coaching job?
Yeah.
No. I mean, the real Ed Orgeron, in my opinion, is the one we saw these past 2 years because it's not like an anomaly. His team, the national championship was an anomaly. I mean, that was one of the best college football teams we've seen in the last decade, and that's with Alabama being so dominant in this past decade. So that was just luck that it happened to him. Someone will hire him up to be like. You know what? I take it back. Someone might hire him just to get PR, maybe one of those like smaller conference schools. They'll hire him just to do PR. But yeah, we all kind of predicted this when after they won the national championship, Dave Aranda, as defensive coordinator, moved on right away. And then his Joe Brady, basically the brainchild behind the offense, left as well. So we all saw that kind of coming. Like I said, not surprised. But
well, so I guess my question more in line was like, does USC bring him in because he is that pseudo celebrity?
No, no. USC already had their Ed Orgeron. His name was Clay Helton. That's literally those two were in the exact situation, but Orgeron just got lucky and like inherited a national championship team. No, USC with how bad they've been the past decade after dominating from 2000 to 2010. They're going to go. They're either going to get James Franklin, Jimbo Fisher. They'll go after Luke Fickell. I don't think they'll get Fickell. No, and they're also not one of these coaches. One of the schools that are going to hire a guy like Billy Napier at Louisiana Lafayette, who should get a new job at a bigger school at some point. But they're not going to do that. They need to make a buzz, and they know they need to make a buzz. I still think the leading candidate is Urban Meyer.
I agree. I think it has to be Urban.
Yeah, and it's the perfect place for him to come down off of like a terrible NFL season. But we will get into the Jaguars and their first win, and just really how ironic their first win was. But before that, some trivia questions. All right, Oklahoma owns the record for the longest consecutive winning streak in Division I with 47. This Division III program won 55 straight from 2000 to 2003. Who was it?
I have no idea.
Mount Union in Ohio.
Mount Union.
So name. Then the next question is name one player that came from the school. There are two very popular ones that I'm surprised you're not going to get.
I've never heard of Mount Union.
Okay, you have. But okay. Pierre Garcon came from Mount Union and did Cecil Shorts as well. Didn't have as long of an
Cecil.
Cecil
I
Shorts.
love Cecil Shorts.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you haven't heard of him, but you've probably seen him play on TV because the ESPN does Division III championship every year on TV. And it's basically Mount Union in all of Division III, basically in the NCAA at least. It's Mount Union and then like the three Wisconsin Whitewater schools. Those are always the four best or the three best. And then they usually always play on national TV for that championship game. But yeah, they have a very good program. They once ran by Vince Carey's. If you actually looked at like some of the if you look at Brandon Staley's like the new Chargers coach, if you look at his coaching tree, it'll trace back to Mount Union. As will a lot of those. As will John Harbaugh's will trace back to Mount Union. Things like that. A lot of the Midwestern coaches fed out of two Division III programs in Ohio, which is Baldwin-Wallace and Mount Union. So a lot of those guys, there's a lot of coaches at the very highest level in the NFL and college that have come. I mean, what's his face? Iowa State's coach. What can I think of his name? Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell. He's another guy from Ohio that does that. But it's a lot of those coaches like Brandon Staley came straight from Baldwin-Wallace. I believe Dan Campbell was part of Baldwin-Wallace as well at one point. So, which is also very ironic because Baldwin-Wallace sucks every single year nowadays. But whatever. All right. Just some quick, brief sports news from around the way. Just because this is a Wednesday show, we'll probably go a little bit quicker through all the NFL games. But I think this will make it easier for us to do on Friday, where we can just kind of get in and out with college football, and it's not putting too much pressure on everybody. So, obviously, the NBA season started last night. I will update the podcast, our listeners. Yes, the answer is yes. I still have everything Milwaukee and Bucks muted on Twitter, so I have no idea what goes on with the Bucks because I hate them and I hate Giannis. So whatever I did, they're all muted on Twitter. I have not decided to unmute them. I don't care about the Bucks. Other than that, the Cavs are going to stink. I will watch. I won't watch much NBA this year. I'll watch the national TV games that either have Trae Young or Ja Morant. But other than that, I just really don't care. There's just nothing to care about. I mean, I don't know if you saw LeBron came out the other day and was like, well, we didn't have enough rest, but because even though we didn't have enough rest, it's not like even if we had more rest, it still wouldn't like prevent injuries. I don't know, I'm just sick of the NBA. After watching the NFL finally for a couple like a month or two now, it's so much better than the NBA. The NBA, it's the whole thing's going on with Kyrie and Ben Simmons. It's literally a high school. It's high school. It's a high school like popularity contest mixed with basketball. It's stupid. It's dumb. It honestly does not matter whatsoever until you get to the playoffs, and half the teams from the league make the playoffs. So it's just not exciting. I wish I could say I was looking forward to this year. I'm not. I mean, the Cavs' first-round pick last year, Isaac Okoro, he's terrible. He hasn't gotten any better. He's going to be out of the starting lineup halfway through the season, if not sooner rather than later. But like I said, Trae Young, Ja Morant, I'm all in for those guys. Other than that, Giannis, you suck. You'll always suck. Learn how to shoot. Kyrie, stop being weird. Kevin Durant, you're pretty good. Devin Booker, awesome. DeAndre Ayton, awesome. Yeah, if you have anything on the NBA, go ahead. We can acknowledge that it's starting and then probably not talk about it until June if you want.
Well, you did have in here the list of awards.
Oh yeah,
wanted to give some predictions. Did you want to do that, or did you just want to say screw the NBA till June when it's playoff time?
Yeah, we can go through the awards. All right, you think it's going to win MVP? I think this is pretty easy.
Well, then you start because I have two people that I really think could win it this year.
It's going to be Damian Lillard.
You think Dame?
Yeah,
I don't know, bro.
It's going to be Damian Lillard because they're gonna try and do something nice for him for sticking with Portland, and then they'll lose in the first round again. So, who are your two? Because I'm interested. I thought Dame would be one of your two.
Who?
And if you say the one person I don't want you say, I may mute you for 5 minutes.
Well, one of them is Kevin Durant. I think if the Nets come out and are fully healthy, I mean, I think he's one of the two best players in basketball right now. I mean, he's got everything going for him. He has the team around him potentially with like how many All-Stars does their team collectively have? Like 30 or something like that?
Close to 30. Close to 30.
Yeah, something like that.
If you count their G League team, yeah, it's close to 30.
Yeah.
No, I will say I am interested in seeing Kevin Durant, but it's not for that reason. I think he's always very capable of winning the MVP. There's never going to be a player like him again that's almost 7 feet tall, skinny, and shoots the way he does. There really won't be a player like him again, kind of like there'll never be a player like LeBron. But I'm also I feel like this is the first year that we can kind of call Kevin Durant old. He's 33. He will be 33 this year. Which obviously it's not 33 didn't stop LeBron. I would say LeBron kind of like last year. I look at LeBron was like the first year that you could tell for me, I guess, that he was old, that he was no longer this young guy that could control the league. He was old. He was a role player. So I obviously I don't think Kevin Durant's going to go down to like that, like at 33, but it is going to be interesting to see how his body holds up, how his game overall holds up. And I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole Kyrie Irving thing, but he's going to have to do a lot more. It's going to be more like the playoffs with him, how the playoffs were last year, because with no Kyrie, you never know with James Harden. He'll score his points. He's going to take his shots, but you never know. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Kevin Durant does.
Yeah. So I'm going on that one end of the spectrum with Kevin Durant, best player on one of the better teams in the East. And then I think this could be kind of a dark horse here for a guy like you said, Dame, where they're not the best team, but he's the best player on the team that propels them forward. And if the Grizzlies are a top 5 seed, I think maybe Ja Morant could make a case for it because he is the focal point of that offense. Now, he might not win MVP straight away. They might give him something like most improved, which I guess we'll go to in a bit. But I think that he could have a potentially like kind of season. Yeah,
I mean, we saw it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take back everything I said in the beginning about the NBA. I was just angry about the Cavs. So the NBA is kind of interesting. I'll just admit that, whatever. Yeah, I agree. Ja Morant, I mean, we saw it last year in the playing game versus the Warriors and Steph Curry, which is another player I think that we can finally say is getting old. And but I mean, shooting never goes away, so it's gonna he'll never really show Steph Curry will never show his signs of being old really until like we should have already noticed it 2 years ago, kind of thing. But yeah, John Morant is good. If Jaren Jackson can come back this year and make an actual positive impact and play in over, I don't know, I will say over 60%, 70% of the games, and then is healthy for the playoffs, I could very well see them being the Suns of last year. They don't have that star player really. Well, they do with John Morant, but it's a little bit different. They don't really have a shooter around him. But no, the Grizzlies can be really good. I like that. I also say like, and this is just me. I kind of turned on him last year. I don't like Luka's obviously an incredible player. I don't like the way he plays. I think Dallas is going to suck again. I really do. So I just don't want Luka to win the MVP because I do think Dallas is going to suck again. And I think the reason Dallas sucked a lot in the playoffs last year, Kristaps Porzingis obviously didn't play great, but Luka Doncic just refused to pass the ball. And at the end of the season last year and in the playoffs. So I kind of on Luka. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I am a very big Luka fan, and I know we disagree kind of on that or whatever. I didn't want to put him as the MVP because everyone's been talking about him being an MVP contention now for probably 3 seasons. And while I do think that he's a very talented basketball player and could potentially win an MVP by the end of his career, I'm done trying to just say like, oh yeah, he's going to do it. I understand. I wanted to have a guy like Luka, who is the focal point and really the only guy on his team other than like the role players and the secondary option. But Luka, I guess, needs some time to develop, if that makes sense. Like he is a great basketball player and he has all the skills, but he has to develop more as a team member. And they need to get some pieces around him to make him more relevant. Because we've seen the NBA not give the most valuable player to the best player just on their team, regardless of their team status. But that team needs to win.
Yeah. So on Luka, my thing is like they did this thing with Luka where he's 6'7", he's usually like a small forward or a big shooting guard. He clearly has all the skills necessary to play point guard. I just don't think that's his best position in the NBA.
I agree.
I think they need like a guy like who I think would help Luka thrive. There's like a guy like Darius Garland that the Cavs have, who's not going to be like he'll shoot his open shots, but other than that, he's looking to dish the ball. And maybe we will see that more this year. But I just think they need to get Luka off the ball for a lot of it. Like he's obviously great in running the break sometimes, and he's a very good passer, but he's also one of the best scorers in the NBA. And to be one of the better scorers, like as a point guard, is tough. So like I said, I don't really like Luka, but yeah, he's obviously very good. I just think he's at the wrong position.
Yeah, and like if this whole thing, and this is just kind of a hypothetical, if this whole thing with Kyrie goes south, getting a guy like Kyrie where he can come in and make plays, move the ball around, and give you, I would say, a true secondary option. Because I'd argue that Kristaps Porzingis is not a true secondary option. It's very hard for. Excuse me.
You know what? He's a secondary option on a bad team, so he's more like the third-ish option on a decent to good team.
Yeah,
like he would like on the Cavs, he would be either first or second option. But like for the role that he needs to play to be on a winning team, because he doesn't have like the DeAndre Ayton or the Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic. Like, so all right, yeah, go on. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thank you. My bad. Something went down the wrong pipe. So, but yeah, like I just don't think that he's a true secondary option. It's very hard for big men to be the first or second option. That's why Nikola Jokic is amazing, in my opinion. But if they went out and they got a guy like Kyrie, and you had the big three of Luka, Kyrie, and Porzingis in that order, then I could say you'd start to make a case for them to push up the rankings in the West and potentially make a playoff push. And like I said, teams need to win for their players to win MVP. You know, the most valuable player, in my opinion, last year, and I know this is going to sound biased, but it was Julius Randle having his breakout
Yes,
season and
100%.
carrying the Knicks to the 4 seed. You know,
Not
that should have been rewarded.
not only did Julius Randle obviously play very well last year, Julius Randle basically brought back the power forward position. Like it was a fading position. It was all stretch fours, and Julius Randle is a stretch four. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is a stretch four. He shoots threes, but he finally brought back the relevance to the in between the wing and the big. Because before that, it was. I mean, there was a time when I thought all your fours were going to be Lauri Markkanen's, like Lauri Markkanen's, like sit around the 3-point line and shoot. But yeah, Julius Randle definitely brought back the power forward position.
Yeah, well, and we were just talking, or at least I was just talking about how it's hard to be the first or second option as a big, and Julius Randle did just that. He carried the Knicks along with some really good team chemistry and some good coaching, but he was the focal point on the Knicks, who everyone thought was going to be another top 10, top 4 lottery pick, but they ended up being the 4th seed in the East. And yes, it was very upsetting to watch them lose to the Hawks in the first round, but you were there. You were a top 4 seed in the East. You know, Julius Randle should have been at least considered for the MVP. He wasn't even a finalist, I don't think, but like that is what I value as an MVP. And bringing it back to Luka Doncic, I don't think that they can do that unless they win. And he, like you said, he can't be playing the point guard because it'll just end up messing up the flow of the game for the team.
Yeah, I feel that. So, all right, on to the next one, and this is defensive player. This is where I'm gonna get my rocks off. The defensive player of the year needs to be Giannis, and if he's not, every year that he doesn't win the defensive player of the year, it's another knock on him for me because he is a absolute freak, and he should be able. I mean, he could basically guard anyone but like Kyrie Irving as a guard. So if he doesn't win the defensive player of the year every single year from here on out in the rest of his career is a failure, in my opinion. But I think he'll win it this year.
Who won it last year?
I no idea. I think probably Rudy Gobert or here, I'll look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, because like I could see the Rudy Gobert's winning it. I could see Draymond coming back and winning it because he's a great defender. Anthony Davis, I think, has won it in the past. So he's a contention. I actually kind of like Bam Adebayo though for the defensive player of the year. He's such a good shot blocker, man. I don't know. I agree it should be Giannis, but like if they keep giving it to Giannis every year, it's the same reason LeBron didn't win MVP every year. They want to get some guys and some other guys in there for the awards and to get their name out there. So I could see potentially Bam winning it.
I'm not a fan of Bam. Just because it's very odd that I have this hatred towards small lineups and small players in the NBA because I'm short. But I honestly just don't like the fact that Bam Adebayo is only 6'8".
Is he only 6'8"?
Yeah, he's not the biggest guy, and his rebounding could use a lot of work. But I do see where you're going there, defensive, and he's very good. Giannis did win it last year.
Okay.
So
and fair enough, he deserved it. I mean, he's a great defender.
he better be. All right, switch to 2 here. We'll go Coach of the Year. I'm pretty sure his name isn't Maurice Cheeks. That's the old Timberwolves coach. The dude from the Suns won it last year. I'm pretty sure. Who do you got this year?
Like I said, I think. If the Nets go in and are this super team, I think Steve Nash could potentially win it. Where did Nate McMillan end up? Because I know he was the old Pacers coach, and I know he landed somewhere.
Hold on.
You were thinking of Monty Williams.
He's the head coach of Monty Williams. But no, he didn't win it either, though. Nick Nurse won it last year, the Bucks coach.
Really? Okay. That's
McMillan's he's the Hawks coach.
He's the Hawks coach. You know, I'm going to change my answer. I could see McMillan coming in and winning it if the Hawks are legit this year. I'm going to go with Nate McMillan.
Okay. So, and then All right, I lied. It wasn't Nick Nurse. It was Tom Thibodeau was the coach of the year last year.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, this is why. Let me see who the defensive player of the year was. I was searching 2020, but I guess they called them all 2021s.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nick Nurse was the Raptors coach when they won it in 2019.
Yes, okay, yeah, okay. So Rudy Gobert did win it last year, defensive player of the year, and then, like I said,
as he should have. He defended all NBA players from playing for like 3 months when he got COVID.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. Go buy a shirt from Fleury. Which one is that shirt with Rudy Gobert? I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, Super Spreader. Go buy the Super Spreader shirt.
I didn't even know there was one of those. I just made a joke.
So coach of the year. This is always a surprise, I think. I think there's a lot of options. I think the new Celtics coach Ime Udoka could win it. I do think Chauncey Billups could win it as well. I think there's a newcomer this year that could win it because they're obviously coming on to decent teams already.
Yep.
I could also see Boston be very disappointing, but I'm also kind of just hoping for that and wishing for it. But yeah, I think coach of the year is just it's whichever one of the younger coaches, or maybe it's like maybe Pop has like Greg Popovich has like a insane like 500% win winning percentage this year, even though the Spurs suck. Then it'll be someone like that. So I don't know, whatever. Rookie of the year. I have a hard time believing this isn't going to Jalen Green. I don't know how it doesn't go to Jalen Green. I think Cade Cunningham is clearly the better player. But Jalen Green is playing on a team in Houston that has absolutely no like nucleus, no core, no nothing. So he's going to be able to. He's going to be asked to score a lot. So I think he wins it. Unless he is a massive disappointment and literally shoots like 30%, I just don't see how he doesn't win it.
I mean, what's the nucleus in Detroit then?
Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes. They have a bunch of they have a bunch of young guys that they've been drafting over the years. But Cade Cunningham also has to play the role of a distributor. Jalen Green's not going to have to do that.
Yeah, what's that? There's Kevin Porter Jr. on the Rockets as well, but what's the other young guy that they have?
I'll
look it up.
I got it. I'm looking it up. It's Christian something. Oh, it's Christian Wood. It's Christian Wood.
I knew they had Christian Wood. I was thinking there's another like guardish or maybe small forward they have.
Hold on. They have John Wall.
No, he's going to get traded.
They have Eric Gordon, Jayshawn Tate from last year. He was
him.
Yeah, he's like a 6'4" forward. Yeah, he's like a 6'4" forward. It's very odd, but yeah, he had a good year.
It's going to be a really, really solid lineup when they get Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Christian Wood, and Jayshawn Tate in. It's gonna be a nice team.
Once again, though, I still say, like I said before, Jalen Green's gonna have a lot of opportunities to shoot, so he will win the award. The two finalists.
Did we do 6-man and most improved?
Most improved is going to. I didn't put him on here, but you can. Most improved is probably going to go to. I don't know. You have anybody?
I have one, and he is my favorite player in the NBA right now. I'm going to be buying a jersey very soon. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my guy. He's going to win most improved, and he's going to bring the Thunder back to relevancy.
I don't know how he's going to win most improved. I mean, he's like it's like his third year in the league. He's kind of a perennial all-star. All right,
He's going to win most improved.
Okay, all right. Well then, okay.
Mark my words.
I'll go with Kevin Porter Jr. He'll win most improved. And then what was the other one? Sixth man. I don't know how they do the sixth man anymore because teams move around their starting lineups so much. So I don't even know. I'll just go with the answer that I will go with every year since I've heard this award. I'll just go with Lou Williams.
Lou Williams.
Always a solid sixth man. Always.
I was thinking D Rose could win it again, right? Because he's coming off the bench as the scoring guard off the bench for the Knicks.
Yeah.
But they could also give it to Lou Williams Light, who Jordan Clarkson has turned into in Utah.
I like Jordan Clarkson. Well, I do like Lord Jordan Clarkson in Utah a lot. I hate the fact that he played for the Cavs and he was horrible for the Cavs. Like, legitimately, watching Jay Crowder in the finals last year and, like, making threes was just, like, this isn't real life to me because he played for the Cavs for half a season and he couldn't shoot. I don't think he scored more than 5 points in a game. So that was just great watching him. And then it's been also just thrilling watching Jordan Clarkson just crush it. And then, yeah, all right, we need to get out of the NBA soon. I'm going to start just complaining about the Cavs.
Fair enough. So 2 finalists and the champion.
I'm going to go with Memphis out west. I'll go with the Nets in the East. I think I don't know why. Like, if you're the Nets, like, it's clearly doesn't seem like Kyrie is going to, like, I don't think you're going to change his mind. Maybe he comes back, like, halfway through the season. I don't know. I don't know why they don't want to pull the trigger on the Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons trade. Ben Simmons would be a perfect fit in Brooklyn. All he has to do is pass to the two guys that shoot probably the most in the NBA.
I mean, yeah, I agree it would be a good fit for the Nets to do that. But I don't think Philadelphia would want the arguably even bigger headache of Kyrie Irving.
Well, the only reason I say that part of it is too because I think in other cities. Oh, great! Breaking news, everybody! Great breaking news for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Browns play tomorrow in a short week, which we'll get to them who already played on Sunday. But Baker is out. Case Keenum is starting.
Yeah,
it's going to be a great W over the Broncos. But whatever. I like the Grizzlies out west. I think they just put it together. I think Jaren Jackson is going to have a good year soon. And if he doesn't, I'm going to have to stop liking him because I've given him a lot of time. And then the East, yeah, like I said, the Nets. I think it's the Nets.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Nets in the East. And then for the West, though, I'm very and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I really don't follow too much. I only know what I know from 2K. But I'm very, very scared that the Warriors could make a resurgence this year because Curry is going to come back fully healthy. Clay is hypothetically supposed to come back healthy. I really like Andrew Wiggins, but I think they'll trade him for a solid piece. James Wiseman could come into his own, even though he doesn't really fit the Warriors system. I'm just very scared that the Warriors can make a resurgence and make the finals.
It's going to be very odd for me because other than obviously my 2 point guards that I really like, my favorite player in the league might be Moses Moody, and he plays for the Warriors. Yeah, so I think Moses Moody is going to come out. I don't know why I didn't mention him for Rookie of the Year. He could have a case for Rookie of the Year because he's a very good shooter, a very good scorer. That's basically what the Warriors need to do. Like we said, the NBA did start last night, and the Warriors actually beat the Lakers last night. So I think it's very possible the Warriors make a run.
Can I change my answer for Rookie of the Year because I completely forgot about it until just this moment?
If you pick Scotty Barnes, then no.
No, I'm picking the cum bucket.
Oh, the cum bucket? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like the cum bucket.
Yes, sir.
I'm still mad. Well, we'll see how Evan Mobley does tonight, but seriously, just I doubt it's on I highly doubt it's on national TV, so never mind. Well, if it is, just turn on the TV for like 30 seconds when Evan Mobley's on the court. He looks like a twig. it's like I every time he tries to like back down in the post, I'm like, the dude's just gonna push him in the back, and his whole spine is just gonna crackle over. But whatever.
Hey man, maybe he's the resurgence of Hakeem Olajuwon, bringing back the skinny and small big man.
Whatever. The NBA champion. I'll go Memphis. You know, we only get one shot at this. I'll go Memphis. I'll go Memphis this year. I'm not going to pick the Knicks like everybody else or the Lakers. So I'll go Memphis.
You mean the Nets? Because no one's picking the Knicks.
Everyone's. I meant the Nets. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said no one's picking the Knicks. Even I wouldn't pick the Knicks. I'm gonna go with in my Warriors v Nets. I'm gonna have to go with the Nets just because I don't want to have to pick the Warriors.
Yeah, that's gross.
It's very gross. I'm just very scared that they're actually going to be good.
They are. I'm telling you right now, they are. Major League Baseball. Yeah, once again, it's almost to the point where I kind of just feel bad for baseball because there's nothing they can do about this. But their postseason falls in line with the beginning of NFL football and college football. Like, yes, that's not their fault. I get that. But B, like, I'm not unless my team's in the playoffs, I'm not turning to watch a baseball game over a football game in October. I'm just not.
Oh, Salvatore. Why the Grizzlies?
Like I said, I think Jaren Jackson is going to have a good year. Did you click that up? You must have.
I did.
I think John Morant will eventually have not John Morant. I think Jaren Jackson is bound to come through this year. He's a good two-way player, or he should be. He needs to work on his rebounding because I think his best role is a center eventually. But he really needs to work on his rebounding. John Morant's obviously crazy good. He came into the league with his only real question mark was his shooting. Towards the end of the year last year, he showed he could really actually shoot fairly well. And they're a young team, and I almost liken it to the Suns last year. The Suns minus Chris Paul. They were a young team who really hadn't been anywhere last year, and so they had the legs and like the drive to get through the playoffs and things like that. I think we could see another Suns like run from the Grizzlies this year. Just because John Morant can do things that a lot of the NBA, like no one in the NBA can do. I like the Grizzlies. I mean, it's not the best pick, but I don't want to be a nerd like Tom and pick the Nets. So,
I mean,
hey, you know
what,
the
Nets
man?
From the East, though. So
you just take your you take your minus 1,000 bet, win whatever $1 off.
I'm not betting on the NBA. Like, screw that.
I'll bet on the NBA. I have no problems with it. Well, thank you, Sal. That's why, though. I really don't think that they probably will make the finals, but I do think you're going to see every year a team like that, a team like them or the Suns that will make a run in the playoffs just because they have the legs. And I don't know if you heard LeBron. He said it's not going to help curtail injuries. So, and LeBron knows everything. Anything else on baseball other than, like I said, at this point, I kind of feel bad for them.
I mean, I could break down what we got left. I mean, I'm personally rooting for whoever comes out of the NL, so long as it's the Braves. Like,
so you can't root for the Dodgers.
That's what I'm not rooting for the Astros. I'm not rooting for the Red Sox, and I'm not rooting for the Dodgers. So the Braves are now my champion. And I know that sucks because I'm literally wearing a Mets hat, but like whatever. But yeah, the Astros Red Sox series is tied 2-2. I really could not care less about either of these two teams because frankly they both suck. And then with the Braves Dodgers, I mean the Braves had 2 walk-offs back-to-back nights.
The Braves are exciting. And the only thing that really sucks with the Braves is they could be probably walking through this playoffs with Ronald Acuna Jr. Which sucks. Like Ronald Acuna Jr. is one of those names that I think with the guys like not Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, one of those young guys that you can actually build a young audience with. So it stinks that he's not in the playoffs. But they also have Ozzy Albies at second. They have I can't think of their first baseman.
Freddie
But the
Freeman.
crazier thing about the Braves to me is they're getting through these playoffs with not the best rotation, like one of the best rotations in baseball. It's always been that way, like since I remember, back to when the Indians went to the World Series. The only reason the Indians went to the World Series was because they had an incredible starting four-man rotation and then an incredible bullpen. Like we've seen in the past, that pitching wins out. So yeah, but like I said, the Braves are exciting. I agree, and I never thought I'd say this. I would like the Red Sox to come out of the East. I can't do Houston again. I can't. I just can't. I can't do it again. They're the luckiest team. They might be the luckiest team in the history of all sports, just because that second season. I mean, they should have had torn ACLs and cuts across their face from people throwing at them for cheating. So they got through with that. I just can't do Houston anymore. I can't. They suck. They're terrible. They annoy me. Alex Bregman, like, go away, bro. Like, I hate the Astros.
Yeah, and like you already know, if they do go to the World Series, right? Then you're gonna get all the people coming back out of the woodwork, like, oh, see, they didn't need to cheat. They still would have just kicked their ass and all this stuff, and like, they'll turn into Cowboy fans. They'll turn into Patriot fans. They'll turn into fans.
There's a sect of them out there. There's a rather large sect. I mean, Bill from Back Sports is one too for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he's from Houston. That way, I think he is.
He is.
So I'll give him a pass.
He also roots for the Rockets.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. So I'll give him a pass for that. But I mean, no, like I just don't understand how you can be a fan of that team when not only and I'm not going to get drawn back into this because we could do a whole episode on this, but how vehemently they denied these things, and they're still denying them to this day. Basically, I don't know if you saw earlier, Dusty Baker, one of the pitchers for the, I think the Red Sox had said something about like tipping pitches. And Dusty Baker was like, well, I don't know about us, but it looked like they were doing it. It's like, dude, you guys are the biggest cheaters in the history of sports, other than the Black Sox. Like, you are the biggest cheaters in the history of sports, other than the Black Sox. Take your lumps. Just go away. I guess you have to ask this. Would the rest of America be happy if we just bombed Houston off the face of the earth? Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. No one cares about the Texans. And the Astros, other than people in Houston, everyone hates the Astros. And then the Rockets, I mean, let's save Jalen Green. Let's get him out of there.
And
but other
Kevin
than that,
Porter
the Rockets
Jr.
The Rockets, well, Kevin Porter Jr.'s got issues, so he'll probably just who knows, but he might be the one we put the bomb on. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of the in the sporting world there. I don't think there. I think you would have people be like, I mean, with this outcome today, we lost a lot of lives, but we gained a lot of respect from the sports world. So I'm all for nuclear attack on Houston. All right.
What about the Houston Stars though? Hockey. It's like one of the only hockey teams that I know.
The Houston Stars? No, they're not the Houston Stars.
Yeah, they are.
The Dallas.
No, they're the Dallas Stars. See, that's how much I know about hockey. I know the Devils and the Rangers and the Sabres, and that's it. Oh, and the Seattle Kraken, because they're new, and the Golden Knights.
All right.
Yeah.
College hoops. Gonzaga, unanimous number 1. I'll go quickly on this. I'm excited for the college basketball season. I didn't think I would be going into it. This is going to be one of the weirdest years ever because you're going to have a team like UCLA that has everyone back from a Final Four team last year, including your boy Johnny Juzang. They're going to have they have obviously experience, but then you're going to look at a team like Memphis, who has Amani Bates and Jalen Duren, who were both the first and second best players in the class above this. So it's going to be very interesting. I think you'll see the same thing at Duke. I mean,
Damn, Purdue.
Honestly,
7?
like I'm asking this of whatever is there. If there's a higher being out there, I'm asking this. Like, I will take UNC sucking for the next 2 years. Like, I will live with it as long as you make Duke just as bad. So Coach K goes out on like a terrible, terrible tour. I'm also very excited for that. I think he thinks he's going to be respected when he goes to these like stadiums is like his last time maybe. I don't think he has a real view on the real world because I think all the students at those games are going to absolutely destroy him and mock him and make him less of a man. And I cannot wait for that. Soccer. Manchester United suck. There's a game on today. They'll probably lose. They finally got Marcus Rashford back. He's incredible, but the defense is really bad. So that's all I have for soccer. Big game today. Don't bet on United. They'll probably lose.
What? This is the first time I'm looking at the college rankings. I'm sorry I'm backtracking, but like, why is Illinois 11? They lost like all of their stars, I thought.
No, the big guy's back.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, no, they lost Dasunamu, the point guard. He was
the point guard.
Yeah, but
I thought all of them just went.
No, he was going to transfer. That kid was going to transfer, but they got him to stay at Illinois.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, and then like, why is Purdue up at 7? Like,
because they're always good.
That's fair. They are always good. Houston fell. Did they lose that point guard, Giroux? Did they lose him?
I don't know about Giroux. They lost one of their guards to the NBA.
I know Giroux was like the guy there who was like playing through injuries to be out there with them during the tourney. But they're 15.
Dejan Giroux plays for the Pacers.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Well, he doesn't play for him. He has a 2-way contract, so he plays in the G League.
Yeah. St. Bonaventure cracking top 25.
Yep, they're supposed to be back. You can keep looking at that and mentioning those teams. It doesn't matter. North Carolina's going to win it all. So
right.
keep dreaming. We already went over hockey.
Butler's going to be good. They're going to make a push.
I hope so. Every time they're good, they go to the national championship and lose. So, I mean, that's if in terms of our show, that's great. We get like happy you and then just suicidal you when they lose.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a win-win. All right, college football, Iowa. Nothing really to say about
this. Ouch. Iowa. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone else is kind of happy for this. I mean, now we don't have to pretend like Iowa's a good team. They never really were. So, I mean, It just kind of shows you're a bad team when you have to like a pick 6 a game just to win.
This was the first home loss of a number 2 team since 2014. And that number 2 team that lost back in 2014, I believe, was Iowa. No, I think at home. At home. Gotcha. A home loss for number 2 last time was Iowa, and it happened again.
I mean,
yikes.
No, weren't they? I think they were. They might have been at home. I don't know. I can't remember this past weekend. After this weekend, I think of college football. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about college football on Friday. We are going to. This is setting up for one of the all-time. We're talking like BCS era debates on who the 4 teams should be. Cincinnati, because I'll tell you one thing: Cincinnati is going to keep winning, and they are going to keep looking impressive because they know that's what they have to do. So I think they're good, but they're going to spark a great debate because it's very likely then that you have a Oklahoma or Oregon comes in with 1 loss, Ohio State comes in with 1 loss. I still think Oklahoma is probably going to lose a game at some point. So it's just going to be a very heated debate. Whatever happens, I hope Cincinnati gets in, but I don't think they will. But that could also be a good thing because there's going to be a huge backlash from that. and that could force the NCAA to get to this 12-team playoff sooner rather than later.
So I'm looking at it now, right? I don't think Alabama will lose the rest of the year. I don't think that Saban's going to allow it.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
So I agree. I think Oklahoma's probably going to lose at some point. Ohio State is currently 5. Michigan's currently 6. They have to play each other once, so take one of them out of contention. Probably Michigan because Harbaugh sucks, right?
You're more than likely at the end of the season, you're going to have probably you'll have 2 in the top 10, but you'll only have 1 of them in the top 5 because they all play each other in these next 3 weeks. Michigan State, Michigan, Iowa.
Penn State.
Not Iowa, Ohio State and Penn State. They all go through the gauntlet in the next couple of weeks.
Right. So you're only going to have one of these Big Ten schools. It's probably going to be Ohio State when it's all said and done. But you take out the other 2, I mean, that jumps Oklahoma State and Michigan State up. Does Michigan State play a tough schedule the rest of the year out of the Big Ten?
I mean, they play Michigan.
Oh, they catch Ohio State and Purdue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. You're literally going my point is maybe Oklahoma State moves up. I'm probably not saying they're going to make top 4, but you have so many Big Ten schools hovering around the top 10 right now that some of them are going to have to fall, if not all of them. I mean, we're expecting Ohio State to win out all these games. What if they don't? What if everyone gets a loss, or a team gets 2 losses and then everyone gets another loss? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. This is what I think will happen in my head. I think you're going to come down to the season. I think at this point, I think it's favorable to assume that Alabama and Georgia are both getting in.
Right.
Even though the longer the season goes, I think that gets less and less likely because I do think Georgia's just by far and away the best team. So they could eventually.
And they're going to have to play in the SEC championship.
Yeah, but then
they could give Alabama 2 losses.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people think, and I think they could be right as well, is that Alabama will beat Georgia. So then also you got to think about it that obviously then who gets the 1. Because they won't put it as a 1-4 matchup. They'll put it as a 1, and then the other guy's probably 3 or 2.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I do think we're going to come down to a scenario or I think it's very likely we can come down to a scenario where Oklahoma has 2 losses, Cincinnati has 0 losses, Oregon has 1 loss, and Ohio State has 1 loss. And so you're going to look who's getting in. I think the committee then does the smart but it's not going to make people happy decision. They will include Oregon and Ohio State over Cincinnati just because they can't – because Ohio State will be the better team even now, especially because Oregon lost their running back, Verdell. But they won't be able to put Ohio State in the playoff over Oregon considering Oregon beat them. So that's why I would think they would take the 2 them and just skip out on Cincinnati, which I said would be eventually I think be good in the long haul because I think we get to the 12-team playoff quicker that way.
Well, but the other point that I was looking at is I agree. I think Georgia and Alabama are more or less locks to make the top 4 because they're the best teams in the country. Cincinnati, I think also, presuming they win out, I think that they're set with a spot as well. Just the fact that they're number 2 right now and everything, right? That 4th spot hypothetically should be going to Oklahoma. You and I both agree that they lose, right? Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
They play number 8 Oklahoma State the last week of the season. If Oklahoma State goes out, they beat Iowa State, Kansas, West Virginia, TCU, and Texas Tech. They're still undefeated when they go and play Oklahoma. And Oklahoma loses to Oklahoma State. Do you give them the 4 spot?
With 2 losses?
No. I'm saying Oklahoma loses and Oklahoma State's undefeated and then beats Oklahoma the last week of the season.
No. If Oklahoma State keeps up their pace, what they're playing, they're 100% in. They are good. They're a good team.
Yes.
It's just very weird that they're good because their defense is kind of winning them games instead of their offense. It's very weird, but no, I think, and we are setting so Bedlam, Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Bedlam. I'll just call it Bedlam. It's always crazy. And so you're thinking this year it's not going to be as crazy because they're defensive. No, we are setting up for one of the all-time. It could be the greatest Bedlam of all time. With this possibly could end up being Oklahoma's last game in the Big 12 if they rush through this thing, which has been basically a 50-50 chance that they rush this in so that Oklahoma's then in the SEC and Texas in the SEC next year. So you could be looking at basically a play-in game. Or no, because I do think Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they're going to play in Bedlam, but then I think they're also going to rematch in the Big 12 championship game. But either way, we're looking at like the possibly Oklahoma's last Big 12 regular season game ever, and two good teams, and I think we could be setting up for a really, really awesome Bedlam here at the end of the season.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
They really do. They really do need to expand this playoff, man. I mean, 4 teams have just sucked for so long because I want to see a bunch of these teams play each other. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is gonna. I think this year is gonna be an interesting year, and I think it'll have a lot to.
They need to expand to 12 teams for next year.
Also, in college football, we kind of talked about it on Sunday, the fans throwing at Tennessee. I still don't really have anything to say about that. I blame them. That was stupid. You obviously can't do that. But at the same time, there were certain calls earlier in the game. I mean, I hate to say this, and obviously, I was just knew the Browns were going to lose this week anyway, so wasn't on the refs, but I kept doing this about the refs last week when they played the Chargers. I don't understand how I really want to talk to someone about this and figure out what the reasoning behind it is. I would like to know why these refs don't get punished. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. You basically view them as untouchables. So that's just the things like that happen at Tennessee. They're going to keep happening if you keep putting these refs in positions to make these idiotic calls that they know they shouldn't be making. But whatever, I'm not going to go into the refs. And then I think Matt Corral is awesome for Ole Miss. I want him on the Browns pretty soon, so hopefully we get him.
Corral is so good, though.
What?
He is so good.
I do like Matt Corral. I love Matt Corral.
I know. I'm not going to go as far to say what you say, but I agree. He's so good.
Yep. All right. Since you guess so, Tom, trivia question this week. Name one quarterback who didn't throw an interception.
Zach Wilson, because he was on bye week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very happy. I thought you were going to come back and actually think about it. I was like, nope, Zach Wilson. So there's no interception, nothing to talk about from Zach Wilson. Jets were off this week, which actually, obviously, it sucked over the weekend, but I feel like it's got to be awesome now knowing that you have 4 straight months of just football every week. So
at the same time, it kind of sucks because now there's no break in between when they get tired in the middle of the season.
Well, that'll happen for the Browns. I'm sure just a wonderful time. So like I said, we will go just straight into the Browns-Cardinals game. All right, I'll start. Kyler is awesome. He's very, very good. It is crazy to me. I've been thinking about it the past couple of days that he really is probably under 5'10", and he's you never saw that we would people were complaining about Baker Mayfield's height at 6'1". It's been amazing to see what he can do and what an offense that's built around him can do. So he's awesome. That team is awesome. They're good. And then for the Browns, I don't know what else to say other than Baker just isn't the guy right now. I don't know if he ever will be. He might be. He's just not. I know the whole conversation over the summer was, well, would you trade Baker and picks for Aaron Rodgers? I think I would do that in a heartbeat right now, because supposedly, I mean, this was and this is so poor on my part for not seeing how this would play out, because this was the only way it was ever going to play out. They finally have everyone coming together for this 1 year where everyone's going to be good. Like everyone is healthy, like that. They get crushed by injuries. Now Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are out. Baker's not starting tomorrow and Thursday night, which is after a shellacking on Sunday. It's just great to go into the short week versus the
Broncos
on Thursday. So that's awesome. But Baker's is not the guy right now. And I know I read off that breaking news with the Browns. I was very surprised to hear that, just because at this point, Baker needs to start worrying about himself and his own money, because
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because he can't – if he doesn't play again this season, he's definitely not getting an extension over the summer. And even if he does play this season, he's still going to have to look pretty good to get that extension. And right now, if you ask me, I'm not giving him that extension. I'm just not. The team around them is too good for him to be the one holding them back. And granted, maybe it is his labor. I'm sure there is problems with that. Then go get it fixed, man, or like do whatever. But just know that, like, I mean, I think the Browns need to draft a quarterback this year in the first, second, or third round that can come in and compete with him, or bring someone else in. I don't know, but if you look at the pieces around, around a quarterback, a good quarterback here. Two of the best running backs in the NFL, two of the better wide receivers, a great defense supposedly, and he just hasn't been able to do it. He just can't win with it right now. So I'm not out on Baker, but I'm also saying, like, there's a clear, like, he needs to prove something, because to me right now, there's no way, like, after the extension Dak just signed and Josh Allen just signed, like, nowhere Baker Mayfield doesn't belong even in the same conversation of those quarterbacks right now. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was going to bring up the fact that this is essentially a contract year for him, because did they already have to decide on his 5th year option, or is that next year?
No, I do think they decided they are going to. I believe they are doing it, but they were talking about him and his agent. They were talking with the Browns, going back and forth about a new contract before the season.
Yeah.
And then the season hit and they stopped. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew all that. I just wasn't sure if they picked up the 5th year or not, because I know, Josh Allen, they declined his 5th year option and then gave him the big contract because they wanted to work together or whatever. But I was worried. I was curious with Baker, because that gives them another year of Baker at the cheap salary. So I think that Baker should honestly take as much time as he needs and go get that surgery to repair the labrum. It's very apparent to me, at least, that the Browns are not quite ready. They need 1 more year to kind of get everything settled, get everyone healthy, and get the team chemistry up, because they made a lot of moves and they had a lot of turnover, especially on the defense, where they brought in a bunch of rookies and they brought in Hill and John Johnson. You need a year.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that you need a year to get everyone to start playing together and meshing well. And I know you could say that every year, because there's always going to be some sort of turnover, whether it's just rookies coming into the equation, losing a vet or two here or there. But the majority of this team and the bulk of this team needs a year to kind of mesh together and figure out what's going on and how they're going to get about it. I also think it's very, very tough for the Browns being in the division that they're in, having the Ravens looking so dominant again, even though we all don't want them to. The Bengals starting to come into their own, and somehow the Steelers are still hanging around. It's a very difficult division to be in, and especially when you're losing, 3 of your most important players to injury all within the same week and a half of Chubb, Hunt, and Baker. So I think this is just a year that you gotta sit back, let everyone get healed up, and say next year's our year.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying with that. It's just that this was really the only year it could have worked, because this was the 1 year that there was Like we didn't have to worry about contracts like going on during the season. We had everyone locked in for either a year or like just 1 year. Like Clowney's only here for a year. So things like that, like it just came at the wrong time. Because everything was opening up this way. This would have been this was honestly supposed to be Baker's contract year. You're right. And it was supposed to probably be his best year ever because he was surrounded by the best team by far that he's had in Cleveland. So
right, and like he lost Landry early on too. I completely forgot about Jarvis Landry for a second year, but that's Baker's. I don't care what people say. That's Baker's favorite target right there. So it's tough though. I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying of not dealing with contracts and everything, but like you could bring Clowney back on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal. If you really wanted, you could give Baker a 1-year deal.
But you're not realizing that. Like when I say guys need contracts, I'm also talking about guys like Wyatt Teller. The right guard needs a contract. Yep. So if I have to choose between Wyatt Teller and Jadeveon Clowney, like I'm clearly choosing Wyatt Teller. Mm-hmm. So I hear what you're saying. It was supposed to be this year, and I honestly don't know how I didn't know this going in. It was all set up way too much to fail. I mean, the Browns haven't had an easy part of the schedule. I mean, their last 3 games have been against, or not their last 3. Well, their last 2 games have been against the Cardinals and the Chargers, who, other than somehow, I guess the Chargers decided to come back to earth this week. We'll get to that. But who are both going to be probably playoff teams, and they played the Chiefs. Well, and here's why I say what should have alerted maybe people to the Browns earlier on was that they weren't able to beat the Chiefs in week 1. We're seeing now that the Chiefs are not like they were last year. Like there's clearly issues, and I have some things to say about the Chiefs. Yeah, but the Browns couldn't manage to beat the Chiefs at their worst in the last 3 years. So I think that was a telling sign, and I'm not giving up on them. I'm almost at the point where like if we lose tomorrow. And then if we lose again the next week, I'm almost just like, all right, let's just tank it for a pick. I like whatever. Like, I mean, you can't hurt somebody that's already broken. So I've I know. I've honestly just latched on to the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So I guess I don't know. Also, I know another guy that needs to. Obviously, last year went great for him, and he was a big reason why they made the playoffs last year. But Kevin Stefanski's play calling in these last 2 games has been very, very bad, very, very bad. I have absolutely no idea why. We knew Nick Chubb was out on Sunday. But we even said in our fantasy show, we were like, yeah, but they're still going to run the ball, and Kareem Hunt is going to get his yards. They came out in 5 wide, like their first 2 possessions. So I just don't know why that was it. Like Kareem Hunt's a more than capable running back by himself. I guess he was injured going into it, and then obviously got injured afterwards. But whatever. And then defensive side of the ball, like Joe Woods needs to answer a lot of questions. Like I don't know what's going on. And then injuries have killed the Browns. I mean, both the tackles were out. They're going to be out Thursday. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is on the IR. They just put someone else back on the IR as well. The biggest signing, John Johnson, not only has not looked good, he's actually looked bad, like actually bad this year. So that's just not working out. And everything that was supposed to, be good, it isn't. So unless you got anything else, I need to switch on to something that will make me happy.
Yeah, we're at the hour 10 mark, and we've gone through 1 game, so I think we should move on.
Yeah, we'll do the game. We'll do the rest of the games pretty quickly.
Yeah,
unless there's something really to say about it, because we're almost at the point of the NFL season where whatever. I also think maybe next week, or probably the week after that, our show will we'll do a quick recap of the NFL, but then we'll kind of do our mid-season awards, mid-season kind of thing like that, kind of break it down like that. So, but yeah, we'll get through these pretty quickly because there wasn't a lot of, no-name things or not no-name things, but outstanding things. So we'll just get through them quickly. But more of the point that I would like to make before we get into the games really is I'm at the point where I legitimately feel bad for Patrick Mahomes.
I don't even
like
get me started. I'm still so mad about that.
And people are going to think I'm joking and like I'm not serious. I honestly think that every time Mahomes throws an interception, in the back of his head, one of the first three things that pops up is, what the hell is Brittany going to say? What the hell is my mom going to say? What is my idiot brother going to do? Like, I honestly think that's what he thinks of.
No, I don't even know how to put into words how like infuriated I am with Jackson Mahomes. He can, and like I won't ever really do this. But like he can honestly go fuck off for all I care. And I don't really drop the F-bomb a lot on here.
No, you don't. I'm the more,
but
I'm the sailor.
But like Jackson Mahomes can honestly go fuck off. Like I am so mad and so infuriated about that whole thing. I'm not going to get started because we'll be here for another hour 10.
But yeah, it just, I just like at some point you got to reach a point with your family where you're like, or especially with Jackson, like, I guess like if I was Patrick Mahomes, like, I don't think this is mean or stupid. I would just be like, hey man, like I'm not giving you passes to get on the field anymore. Like, you can't be trusted down there, so I'm just not going to give them to you anymore.
But he does it in the stands and then the bleachers too.
Yeah, but which is whatever. It's fine, but then the whole thing doesn't happen with the Sean Taylor Memorial like that.
I get that, but he should just stop bringing him. He'd pull it. You know, you said it last week. Pull an Aaron Rodgers. Like, you're an NFL quarterback. You don't need your family. Your family is clearly just mooching off of you. Like, it's so. I'm not gonna.
Wait, so you're not. The root of your issues doesn't come from the Sean Taylor thing?
No, it does. Like, that whole thing is so stupid. But like, he should not even have been in the stadium. Like, after all of the TikToks that have been made this year from him, like, what is Jackson Mahomes good at?
TikToks.
He's good at using his brother's name to get fame. He's good at keeping people involved, interested, whatever you want to say. But like, what is he actually good at?
Not
pissing
much.
People off, but what else?
I hear you.
Like, I'm so sick of his whole thing and his whole shtick. Like, just keep him out of the stadium and let him go, be homeless or something. Like, I don't know. Jackson Mahomes is not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is actually really good at football. Jackson Mahomes uses his brother's name to dance on a memorial of a football player who died in a home invasion. Like, what? Why would you even think to do that?
I'm not going to get into the psyche of the younger brother. But now that you've brought this up, I think we do need to kind of bring it up. So the football team basically just rushed this and put this on as a PR move to get
100%.
Yeah, which is like the football team is low and they've done some bad things and their fans don't really like them. I think Sean Taylor is one of the most beloved players throughout the NFL and throughout as well in the Washington Redskins facility, like probably one of the most respected players ever there. And the fact that it's probably going to come out because I'm sure, once again, these dumbasses don't realize that we can get their emails again, and they will get their emails again, and there are going to be multiple ones about how, let's do it this weekend just to get the name off of Bruce Allen. It's a new low for an NFL team. I didn't think they would do that. And I'm also not saying they're 100% guilty right now because I guess we don't know. But from all angles of where everyone's looking at it, I think it very much looks like they did this after the Gruden news came out, they like got on the ring with all of each other and were probably like, okay, this is a great time to do this to get this like the stink off the football team. And let's not be crazy and not be dumb. The memorial they actually did for Sean Taylor is not that great anyway. So I don't know what you have to say about that.
I mean, they retired his jersey, which is like a good gesture, and I think it is long overdue. But like you're right, I think they kind of had this in their back pocket as they're like, get the media back on our side. Let's retire Sean Taylor's number. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just more of the idea that they did it to just cover something up with like the only player in their like the history of their organization that was like really liked. It's a pretty low move, but once again, it's the stupid ass Washington football team. So who fucking knows?
Anyway,
all right. We'll start with these real quick. Steelers, Seahawks. Anything other than I don't know how the Steelers are winning games. I just don't.
Well, they won this game because Russ wasn't playing. I'm very, very surprised that Geno Smith kept it to a field goal game. Was it overtime too? I think it may have been an overtime game. If it wasn't, it was a last-second field goal. But yeah, nothing really to talk about too much on this because the Steelers barely beat a beaten-up Seahawks team, and Geno Smith looked average at best.
Yeah, I agree. Dallas at New England. What?
The Seahawks should sign Cam Newton. Get him for 2 months till Russ comes back.
I don't know about that. Cam Newton, I just don't think is a guy you take on for 2 months. I just don't. I mean, his whole personality.
Better than Geno Smith.
I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is. All right, Dallas at New England. This was a great game. This was a great game in the fact that I heard somebody else say this, but I'm going to completely quote it and copy it. This is a game in the past 5 to 6 years in the past that the Patriots always win. They always find a way to win. And also in the previous 5 years in the past, this is also a game where the Cowboys find a way to lose every time. So this was awesome. I think the Cowboys are very good. I think they're a real kind of a threat in the NFC. And we had our little talk about Trayvon Diggs last week in like the zone. At this point, I don't think it really matters what he's doing about it. Like, I don't know how he's getting this lucky, but I do think there's going to come a time when people just stop throwing the ball to his side of the field. Like, I think that's going to come sooner rather than later.
2 points. One, this is the first time the Dallas Cowboys have beaten the New England Patriots in the 21st century. They haven't beat them since '99 when Michael Irvin was on the team. Which sounds a lot worse, but then you realize they only play each other once every 4 years.
Yeah.
There's that aspect, but like still kind of funny. I love the stat. Number 2, yes, Trayvon Diggs' pick six was amazing. Great pick six. Great read. Great everything about the interception. The very next play, he gets burned for a 70-something yard touchdown to Kendrick Bourne, I think it was. On just like a double post move. I mean, this is exactly what we talked about last week. He's very opportunistic, very willing and able and capable of ball hawking. But when he's asked to do a one-on-one man coverage, he gets burned for a 70-something yard touchdown.
Yeah, it would not surprise me whatsoever if he makes the move over to safety. It would not surprise me. Because I think that's how he's gotten most of his interceptions. I watched a little bit of the game. I've never seen a defensive coordinator allow the amount of freedom of movement that he has throughout the entire field in a zone defense. I've never seen it before. I mean, he basically tries to play a free safety in 3 different zones. So it's working so far, and that's great. But once again, this is a very I don't think this is I don't think you can count on this to keep working like it's working much longer. And I also I've never seen a defense coordinator allow that much freedom to a player who's supposed to literally be probably on either a third of the field or a quarter of the field. So it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
It's
well,
weird.
and like, yeah, and like, he just, I don't know if he should make the transition to safety or like. Honestly, I think he would be a perfect role for like a Justin Simmons or no, excuse me, not Justin Simmons. Isaiah Simmons
crazy.
role.
It's crazy you were just gonna say that because that's exactly the guy I was thinking of in my head too. I was gonna say he's almost like to me, he's more of like a coverage version of Derwin James. Where he plays up by the line of scrimmage a little bit. He plays in that linebacker safety zone where he's just it's not he's a spy, but I can't remember what it's called. It's called something. It's like he's a robber. He's a robber on like because he'll rob like inside things. But go on, sorry, I don't know why I could think of that.
Yeah, no, I think that he's much more suited to play an Isaiah Simmons type role where he's a linebacker, but he's really dropping into coverage kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like because Isaiah Simmons started last year, his rookie year, kind of like bouncing between linebacker and safety. Now they have him play in linebacker, but he's more of a coverage linebacker and then goes in for some blitzes here and there. I think Trayvon Diggs would excel in that role.
Trayvon Diggs should be the position, like he should play a position like this, that this guy should play like, but he doesn't. He should, like Tyrann Mathieu should be this kind of safety where he plays around the line of scrimmage, but he's also there in deep zone as well when he is. And I feel like Tyrann Mathieu gets way too caught up in being up front, trying to make tackles on flat routes and things like that, where he should be deep in coverage most of the time. I think that's where Trayvon Diggs would be very good.
100% agree. I think a blend of those two players would make Trayvon Diggs lethal.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
not that he already isn't. I mean, we have to give him credit. He has 7 picks in like 6 games or whatever it is.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, we saw this from Iowa, and we didn't think they could sustain it. I don't think he can sustain this, but we've seen crazier things. I don't know.
I don't think he's going to keep it up, but he could end the season with like 10 or 12 takeaways.
Yeah. Raiders, Broncos, I got nothing on this other than congratulations to the Raiders. It was a shitty week. They got the win with their interim coach, so good for them. And the Broncos really suck, which makes the Browns losing to them tomorrow look even worse.
Yeah, on the Sunday Fantasy show, I was fading the Raiders. I said I just didn't want any part of this game whatsoever. And Derek Carr completely proved me wrong. It was a solid win, great win. And who do they have this week?
The Raiders?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. You don't worry about it.
I got it. The Eagles.
Oh, yeah, that should be a really fun game for me to watch.
They have 2 weeks in a row, Eagles and Giants, where they should win both. And then they play the Chiefs. So that'll be fun. Speaking of the Chiefs after football team, we kind of already talked about the Chiefs. And I will say people that were ripping on Patrick Mahomes in the first half, he deserved it. And people are like, well, why does he get so much leeway with all these other quarterbacks? Like, he makes so much money. Well, he gets the leeway because he came back in the second half and did what he did and won the game for them. The only really thing I have to say, though, about the game is I am honestly astonished how bad the Washington defense is. I'm astonished, like, how bad they are. Well, looks like we just lost Tom.
I'm back.
No, Tom. All right, Tom's back. There we go. Who are we talking about? Washington football team. I was saying the only thing that really is I have to say about that, it's incredible and astonishing how bad that defense is. I don't know what's wrong with it, but they are actually just very bad.
I mean, they didn't look the worst, I didn't think, this week. Am I wrong?
They look pretty. They look. I just don't think they're good. I mean, I don't know what's happened with them.
I mean, they gave up a ton of yardage, which sucks. They got a forced fumble. They had the recovery. They had 2 interceptions and 3 sacks. I mean, yeah, it's kind of bad. They gave up they lost. They gave up a ton of points, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it was atrocious this week. I think this week was the best week that they've had this season. For it also being the Chiefs.
All right. Whatever. All right.
And the Chiefs looked uninspiring.
They haven't looked really good at all this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Rams, Giants, nothing to say other than this
Matt
was a blowout
Stafford.
and it didn't surprise me.
Matt Stafford's no-look pass to Cooper Kupp, if it were done by Patrick Mahomes, it would still be playing on ESPN.
100%. I agree.
Stafford looked
Cooper
amazing and Kupp looked amazing.
Wouldn't it be awesome if you had those guys in your fantasy team?
I know.
I have both of them.
I know.
Houston and Indy, the only thing I'll say is this is why I'm still not a very good gambler in the NFL. I hammered Houston plus 11. They got beat 31-3 by the Colts. I still don't really know what happened. Jonathan Taylor, you know who else? Jonathan Taylor. Like, wouldn't that be awesome if he was on your fantasy team?
He is on a bunch of my fantasy teams, actually.
He's on my team too.
Yeah, 145 yards on 14 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Take
they were
that.
good. They were good. Colts. I don't think they'll be like any type of like real contenders for the Super Bowl, the AFC, but they'll be in the mix at the end. They'll be in the mix with a playoff on. Cincinnati at Detroit.
I think wasn't that another blowout?
Yeah. This one is unfortunate because I like Dan Campbell, and he didn't cry after this game, which was good. I like Dan Campbell, but I think we're going to come to a point in the next couple of weeks where it's possible they could go 0-17.
I agree 100%, and it really sucks.
I know.
Again,
It sucks.
I agree. I like him.
Well, do you know that Dan Campbell, you know one thing about Dan Campbell? He played for an 0-16 team.
Oh, he did.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I would resign before the last game. No, that's so bad, bro.
Yep.
No.
I was looking at their schedule, and there's definitely wins they could sneak out of with wins, but I also think there's a decent possibility that they won't win a game.
Oh, that would be honestly horrible. I would cry with Dan Campbell. I think.
Yeah, that would be awful. I don't even know how.
So maybe that's why. Like, I think I'm starting to understand why he cried. Like, he knows the position that they've been in, and he knows kind of where they're headed, and he hated that as a player, and he hated the fact that his coach just didn't care. I'm assuming, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe that's why he's crying. Maybe he's like, look, I care as much as you guys do. Like, we're all in this together, and it sucks. Oh, no, that would be honestly so bad. Oh, my God. They are America's team. We want them to win one game.
They have to. They have to win a game. They have to. They're going to win a game. They're going to win at least a game.
They're going to win.
No, and you know
they're going to win out.
You know what really sucks? Detroit's a team right now that, like, if they got a decent quarterback, like, the next year, like one of the rookies, like, they would be all right, except for the fact that none of these guys in the NFL draft are going to be any good. Probably.
Well, so it's funny you brought up the quarterback. Did you hear Dan Campbell after the game when he wasn't crying? He kind of called out Jared Goff.
What did he say?
he got asked a question about his performance, and he's like, "Look, I'm not going to sit here and where this is a team game. It's on all of us." But Jared's got to help us a little bit. He's got to kind of hold his weight. He's got to go out there and make some big time throws, and he's got to play a little better. Essentially, is what he was saying.
Yeah,
I'll send you the link later so you can listen to it. But I don't think I've ever really heard a coach come out and say that about his quarterback, especially when the quarterback is as young as Jared Goff.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I also don't think Jared Goff's the answer there.
Neither do I. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Packers at the Bears. Just go search "I Own You" Aaron Rodgers on YouTube. You're gonna figure out all about that game. Like I want to like this thing that Aaron Rodgers did. Like I want to say that's awesome, that's cool, but it didn't sound cool coming from him. He's just a little bitch boy. I don't know.
Well, and after the game, he was like, "Oh, I blacked out. I don't even know what I said." Like, bro, just own up to it. Like, don't be giving me this. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the ultimate mercenary these next 3 to 4 years. He's literally just going to go to the teams that just need a quarterback for a year. Maybe it's the Browns. Maybe he's just going to be like, Green Bay. I just loved the cold up there and all the lakes in Wisconsin, so I'll just come play in a place where it's just as cold, and also is on the banks of another lake. So.
He's gonna be the lake man. He's gonna play in Green Bay. He'll play in Cleveland. He'll play in Detroit. We'll hit up all of the Great Lakes. The Great Lake Mercenary. There's a T-shirt for you.
It would be funny if you went to all those teams. Hey, you never know. You think Dan Campbell could recruit him to Detroit next year?
Maybe Aaron Rodgers like, look, I already won an MVP. Honestly, I won a Super Bowl. Now I want to bring the Lions back just to complete my career.
See, honestly, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy that would be like, he would want to embrace, he would want to be like, there's only one thing in my career I have left to do, and that's save an entire city. So
save a franchise.
So he goes to the Lions for a year, wins a Super Bowl, and then he'll just go out on top, which is fine. But whatever.
That would be hilarious. I would love that.
I'm all in for that. Minnesota, Carolina.
Thriller.
I just don't think either of these two teams are very good. I thought the new Carolina with the new Sam Darnold. There is no new Sam Darnold. He doesn't exist.
He does exist when Christian McCaffrey is on the field.
Maybe. I'm still not sure about that. But
I didn't think he played that poorly, did he?
He wasn't like.
Oh yeah, never mind. I didn't realize he went 17 for 41.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. All right. One of the more surprising storylines, I thought, the Chargers at Baltimore.
I am convinced that you and Asher cursed the Chargers one way or another. So I'm going to need you guys, because last week, not this past week that just finished, but the week before, you said Justin Herbert was your sit quarterback and he was not going to play well, and he went out and put up 41, 42 points. Now, this week, you guys had him as your starter. He's legit. He's the best. And then the Chargers put up 6 points. I'm going to need you guys to start saying that he sucks every week, week in and week out, because I got fantasy football games to win.
I hear what you're saying. You should have drafted a better quarterback. His name is Kyler Murray. You should have drafted him. It's your fault. You failed him. You failed yourself. Don't take out your anger on other
He was
people.
not available.
It's unfortunate.
Someone took him in the first round.
I hope it was me. On to the Jagoffs.
That could-
Jacksonville finally gets a win in London. Good for them. It's probably their only win of the year. And
It
the
took
only other
Urban
thing about
Meyer
the
escaping the United States to win a game.
and then also the fans are awesome in London when they dress up in their stupid costumes. I have no idea why they do it for Jaguars games. It's very weird, but I love it. Yes, and then I did have the. What'd you say?
Said it took Urban Meyer escaping the United States to get a football victory in the NFL.
Like, if you're Miami too, though, I mean, like, I don't know what you do at this point.
Trade Tua.
Yeah, for what?
A bag of chips and a bucket of footballs?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're just Miami's just not good. They're not good. And you just kind of have to wonder, like where do they go from here? Where do you go? Like the worst thing they did was draft Jalen Waddle last year. Like, he's a great player, but they can't find a way to get him the ball. So,
I mean, he had 2 touchdowns this week. I wouldn't say they didn't find him this week, but
I mean,
I agree. I think the worst decision that they've made.
Look at his stats from the previous 6.
That's fair.
They don't throw him the ball.
He has not looked great.
I'm just saying he's on my fantasy team. They don't throw him the ball. So.
I think the bigger mistake was taking Tua at 5 and leaving Justin Herbert to go to the Chargers at 6. I think that was a bigger mistake.
Yes, but also that's different because there was no way to predict that Justin Herbert would have been this good in the NFL or Tua would be this bad. Also, I'm starting to think that left-handed quarterbacks.
I'll give you that.
Left-handed quarterbacks suck.
I don't. Yeah, they don't throw the ball. Well, part of it too is like when a throws, like the ball comes in the other way, and if you're a receiver, like you're used to seeing it come in one way, and now you're seeing it come in the other. It could throw people off sometimes. That's part of the reason I think that they took Jalen Waddle is because he was used to Tua throwing him the ball. So I don't know. We don't really have to sit here and debate Miami because they suck, but.
Yeah, we don't. I had Monday Night Preview on here. Obviously, that didn't happen, or that did happen. I didn't watch any of it until Tom texted me when Josh Allen tripped at the 1-yard line. And I'm happy. He frozen out.
The only I'm cutting out. My Wi-Fi is starting to cut out. It does that around noon. All I can tell you about the game was that Sean McDermott is an absolute moron. I don't know why you wouldn't take the field goal with 20 seconds left. And I understand Josh Allen has had some success rushing and doing a QB sneak this year. He tried to justify the decision by saying that he had great success with it and that he's ripped it off for some big runs. I would have much rather called a passing play on that because Josh Allen likes to trust his arm as much as his legs, if not more. But if you had called the passing play, Josh could have run it. Like, he still had the opportunity to use his legs and get it. But everyone in the stadium, everyone at home knew what you were running when as soon as he got out of the shotgun formation to move up to call plays at the line. And then he got the ball and took it for literally 3 inches when you need, 8. But everyone knew what was coming, and it was a dumb play call. I get wanting to go for the win. I get wanting to play for more than overtime, but I think it was a stupid decision to call a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, before we close out here, I feel like it's a tough place for a lot of NFL teams to score is in between like that 2-yard line and the goal line because like the defense has the advantage if you run it straight up the middle. You can't really do a quarterback sneak, and if you try and just run like a 4-out spread offense, you have very like teams are just going to play zone against you, so you have very little space to go to, like your receivers to go to. But yeah, I'm happy the Bills lost. Josh Allen stinks. I'm glad everyone's finally now seeing it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that he stinks. I just whatever. I'm not going to get into that debate right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, sure. All right. That's going to do it.
I'm not going to get in that debate right now. We've been here for an hour 40.
Yeah, we have. That's going to do it. We'll be back Friday. Probably a pretty short pick 'em. Matt will be back with us. I'm seeing the board very well in college football right now, so definitely tune in on Friday, and then we'll obviously remind you again on Friday, but obviously tune into our fantasy show on Sunday. I assume we'll have either Asher or Corey. I don't know, one of the two, or it could just be me and Tom. You never know. You might get lucky
or
and just get us
someone new,
or potentially someone new. Tom does not want to just work with me. Clearly understood, Tom. All right. Any last words?
Sco Dogs. Hopefully that goes through eventually.